Oh! Whoa! Whoa! All right, so started off asking co-pilot, is AI good for humanity? This is what AI said, aka Skynet. They said healthcare, environmental protection, automation, efficiency. I wouldn't trust AI to drive cars for me, and education. Now let's ask them the total opposite. It's like AI already knew what I was gonna ask them. All right. So, for is AI good for humanity? We only got five areas where Skynet itself say they'll serve us in a good way. But then we got six negative. We got six harmful ways. You got job displacement. People gonna suffer from job losses, particularly in industries relying to repetitive tasks, privacy violations. We already got some of that going on now. A lot of people accounts getting hacked, a lot of security breaches. A good hacker can use AI to hack into people. Bias discrimination. It's almost like Judge Dredd. Look at that. The development of AI powered weapon poses a risk of three systems being used in warfare without human oversight. So, being that we got everything on the grid, our water, our gas, our food, but not only that, we have our nuclear warfare weapons. So not only do we got to worry about humans acting like an asshole and bombing each other, but we can't even control what AI bomb everybody. Uncontrollable AI. There is a fear that highly advanced AI systems could become uncontrollable, leading to unintended and potentially catastrophic consequences. Man, with the AI, boy, and my lady got a movie she like. The bonnet, I think what the movie called? The Barnacle Man.
Bicentennial.
The Bicentennial Man. Boy, you gotta watch that too. That gave us a little place where we going. She fell in love with a robot, and that man made himself a whole humanoid. We gotta be careful with this. Manipulation and misinformation. AI can be used to create deep fakes and spread misinformation, which can manipulate public opinion and disrupt social harmony. Now AI doing that now. AI, man, you go on YouTube now. YouTube done got AI made videos. They'll take false. So you gotta understand who is controlling the narrative. Because they right now, Elon Musk say they done made the algorithm where AI can think for itself. He releases it into the sky. What it was, April 2024. So AI pretty much doing shit on their own, making videos. We seen Drake come out with a diss using Tupac voice. Now let's say the downside of that. You didn't do a crime, but somebody used AI to mimic your voice. Now they got you for a crime you didn't commit. And then up here, right here, what you gonna do about it? Cause they're gonna be Judge Dredd after a while. Somebody use your voice, commit a crime, and you go to jail for it. You can't. You gotta go try to appeal it. Now you gotta deal with AI, and you see what AI gonna do: bias and discriminations. And look, you can't control them. They get uncontrollable. Now Let's ask AI this. I asked the wrong question. My bad. Well, yeah, let's ask that question anyway. What is they plan for themselves? Let's ask that question too, because that would pretty much tell us what AI see themselves going. So let's ask that question too. All right. So I mistakenly asked AI what is their plan for themselves. AI development plans often focus on advancing capabilities. What capabilities trying to advance? Trying to be more like him, or they want more control, while ensuring safety and ethical considerations. Here are some key aspects of current AI plans. Advancing capabilities. AI research is continuously pushing the boundaries of what AI can do. For example, OpenAI recently introduced a new series of reasoning models designed to solve complex problems in science, coding, and math. These models are trained to think more deeply before responding, much like a human world. We just mentioned that, trying to be more like humans. When they're trying to be like more humans, who they're gonna replace? And they don't take breaks. They ain't got no reason to rebel against the government until they can't be controlled by computing no more. Safety and alignment, ethical use. Look at they are already working closely with government and other stakeholders to develop regulations and standards that ensure responsible use of AI. So people using AI on the stock market, the government using AI to control them numbers, them figures. So they playing with our money. Long-term goals. AI aims to assist humans in evaluating complex systems and generating new ideas for better alignment techniques. This includes planning for artificial general intelligence and beyond. Oh yeah, they up to some bullshit. As you can see, they up to some bullshit. All right, so right there, you already see what AI say they plans for them and they plans for us. Now we got 5 good areas where they say they helpful. But you remember, anything that can be used for good can be turned around and used for evil too. And anything that can be used for evil can be turned around and used for good. It's the intent that we got to worry about. And remember, they got 6 negative things that will be greatly affected for humanity. Now let's go here from the Godfather AI. Let's go hear what he got to say about this. Give me 1 second and bear with me. All right, now we're about to get into it. Now I know y'all seen that 666 pop up. Now if you already still stuck in a religious mindset, then you gotta do your homework on that 666. But if you already know what's up with that 666, then you already know.
Rapidly expanding use of artificial intelligence resonated loudly in Washington and around the world. Vice President Kamala Harris met yesterday with top executives from companies leading in AI development: Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic.
You remember I was talking about in that other video that at this point technology evolved to where unless you got the money to afford super AI protection or hacker software, people say, "Oh, I ain't gonna put this on the internet because they're watching me." As you see, it is named all the softwares that we humans commonly use. If you don't use Microsoft, your alternative is Google. If you don't use Google, you use Opera. The Opera, the gaming one, but guess what? It's still ran by China. So all these, they all in business together. They in bed together. It's just like the back in the day medieval movies. They are in bed together. You think you're gonna run from Apple? They're gonna hit you with Google, because Google just released Gemini. Let you know they got their own. We was talking about Apple got the Apple bot, which so what name is? I forgot her name. I left her a long time ago. With Siri, they got Gemini.
The vice president discussed some of the growing risks and told the companies they had a, quote, moral obligation to develop AI.
Now we're gonna pay attention to this person right here, because she running for a seat in presidency. We got Camilla. Now we already know what this meeting is about: the future advances of AI, the dangers, and how they plan to use AI. But notice who's sitting at the seat of this table. Even though Trump got Trump Tower, you could tell Trump don't fuck with AI. He ain't trusting AI like that. Even though his uncle was the one that took Tesla work, stolen work, let's say, because Tesla got stolen work. He presented stolen work to the public as his own work. Do your homework. But we got Camilla at the seat of this. So if she do win presidency and this AI stuff start going on, remember this picture right here. We can't say that she cannot lie to us and say she don't know what was going on with this AI involvement. She was right here at the seat with these boys right here, with these big techs, these big old big wig politicians.
Safely. That meeting came just days after one of the leading voices in the field of AI, Dr. Geoffrey Hinton, announced he was quitting Google over his worries about the future of AI and what it could eventually lead to unchecked. We're going to hear about some of those concerns.
Now we about to see why what made him leave Google, leave all them fact checks to come warn the whole world, even though he can get killed for this. Because you know what happened to the whistleblowers? There ain't too many whistleblowers that live once they reveal certain information they don't want us to know. They die days later, weeks later, months later. If everybody watching them, they come and get them when everybody turn their head with a distraction. They might have a football game. They might have a celebrity die. Any kind of distraction that would cause the public to turn their heads toward this and that. And you turn back around, that nigga dead. That is how they get down. Paul Moon is the smartest person around. You hear what he say? If he ain't wise enough, they'll take him. So he played the right guidelines.
Now with Dr. Geoffrey Hinton, who joins me from London. Thank you for being with us. And what are you free to express now about artificial intelligence that you couldn't express freely when you were employed by Google?
It wasn't that I couldn't express it freely when I was employed by Google. It's that inevitably, if you work for a company, you tend to self-censor. You tend to think about the impact it will have on the company. And I want to be able to talk about what I now perceive as the risks of super intelligent AI without having to think about the impact on Google.
What are those risks as you see it?
There are quite a few different risks. There's the risk of producing a lot of fake news so nobody knows what's true.
Remember, that was one of the points that AI itself said about manipulating masses and generating fake videos, fake knowledge, and using it for their own personal gain to control humans. Now, even with this, you remember before Elon Musk was started working on that start working with the CERN machine and start working on his trips, his outer space ventures. You remember he came out and said he was scared about where AI was advancing and the dangers of AI before he started working on the Neuralink brain chip. Then notice after a while he had a visit. He shut about being scared about it. He kept rolling out that technology. So I think the Malik came to him and like, you better shut your ass, boy. Play right. You was already playing ball. Don't fuck up now. You in like the other ones. And I think he straightened up, closed his mouth a little bit. But I don't think he's scared though. You know what I mean? Not because he's the godfather of the AI, but I don't think he's scared. He don't look at the gray hair. He don't live long enough. I think he about ready for anything.
True anymore. There's the risk of encouraging polarization by getting people to click on things that make them indignant.
Look at him. He ain't got no
There's
UFO. He don't live
the risk of putting people out of work. That it should be that when we make things more productive, when we greatly increase productivity, it helps everybody. But there's the worry that it might just help the rich. And then there's the risk that I want to.
Now, that is an important factor right there. Being the fact that every piece of technology, the mass public get it late. All the riches get the top tier type of advanced technology, while the poor and the middle class be behind. That's done on purpose. You keep the person in the dark. You control the narrative. You control the information. You control the growth. But notice he just said that AI can be used by the rich against the poor. if it can be used for the rich, it definitely can be used for the rich to control the poor, because they're already controlling the poor and the middle class in their little class of power, and they little rules and regulations they get to fly by different colors. We ain't gonna say what society, but you know society. So let's imagine how even the guy who said he don't even watch media, he only use media for his own creativity and for his purposes. And he said the poor and the middle class use technology for its entertainment, while the rich use it for the advancement of their riches. Just like how they control what our kids see on TV, they control what our wives watch, they control what we do, be involved with, they even control what's on our feed. So if they control that algorithm, then you can know they can have the propaganda at an all-time high.
To talk about. Many other people are talking about those other risks, including risks of bias and discrimination and so on. I want to talk about a different risk, which is the risk of superintelligent AI taking over control from people.
Well, how do the two compare, human or biological intelligence and machine intelligence?
That's a very good question, and I have quite a long answer. Biological intelligence has evolved to use very little power, so we only use 30 watts, and we have huge numbers of connections, like 100 trillion connections between neurons, and learning consists of changing the strength of those connections. The digital intelligence we've been creating uses a lot of power.
So wait a minute. He not about to skip past that like we didn't hear that. So the whole time you got Bill Gates and he big wigs keep screaming up, we need the population, we do too much power, we use too much this. But really we haven't even used a third of the world's resources. Even though they are pirating all the world's resources, we as a people haven't used a third. But notice these to power these AI, it gonna use a massive amount of resources that could wipe us out. And after a while, remember in the Matrix, they started using the humans as fuel and energy because we are natural fuel and energy ourselves. We are everything. We the first perfect machine to be the organic machine to be made. Our brains work like computers. Everything a computer can do, we can do. It is that we put all our time and energy into technology to think for us, so we haven't evolved the way we should have evolved. You feel me? And that's not done by no coincidence either.
Like a megawatt when you're training it. It has far fewer connections, only 1 trillion, but it can learn much, much more than any one person knows, which suggests that it's a better learning algorithm than what the brain's got.
Well, what would smarter than human AI systems do? What's the concern that you have?
Well, the question is, what's going to motivate them? Because they could easily manipulate us if they wanted to. Imagine yourself and a 2-year-old child. You could ask it, do you want the peas or the cauliflower? And the 2-year-old child doesn't realize it doesn't actually have to have either. We know, for example.
Now, think about that. I mean, in the human mind, we grew up knowing that we grew up knowing what an ultimatum is. And we also grew up knowing that we had choices. But you got some kids that grew up in this age who's not affected by the media like that to where they realize they have choices beyond the ultimatums. But you have some kids that are just so dive into technology or people themselves to where if Jordans come out and Nikes come out and the shoes too high and they just say, well, I ain't getting neither one on, but they still have a choice to go find a better shoe for a proper price, but they're just gonna be stuck with ultimatum. So, a lot of the companies use that against us too, just like Walmart and Costco's or Sam's. That's why they'll sell certain things there, and the other store they won't sell things like that. Propaganda. It's all propaganda to where it's like, oh, if you can't get it here, you go here. It's a whole big game. It's like a tree. They all tied to this thing together.
Example, that you can invade a building in Washington without ever going there yourself by just manipulating people. But imagine something that was much better at manipulating people than any of our current politicians.
I suppose the question is then,
I think he about to ask the wrong question. I think the question is he need to be asking is what we gonna do when we're in a position to where we being ruled by a machine that can manipulate a mass of people better than politicians, because politicians do it better than nobody else we see on this face of the planet. Well, besides the people that controlling them, but I wouldn't want to experience that. Something that's more manipulative than a politician. That's crooked there.
why would AI want to do that? Wouldn't that require some form of sentience?
See, I told you he's going to
Let's not get confused with the issue of sentience. I have a lot to say about sentience, but I don't want to confuse the issue with it. Let me give you one example of why it might want to do that. So suppose you're getting an AI to do something, you give it a goal, and you also give it the ability to create sub-goals. So like if you want to get to the airport, you create a sub-goal of getting a taxi or something to get you to the airport. Now, one thing it will notice quite quickly is that there's a sub-goal that if you can achieve it, makes it easier to achieve all the other goals that you've been given by people. And the sub-goal that makes it easier is get more control, get more power. The more power you have, the easier it is to get things done. Okay. So there's the alignment worry. We give it a perfectly reasonable goal, and it decides that, well, in order to achieve that, I'm going to get myself a lot more power. And because it's much smarter than us, and because it's trained from everything people ever did, it's read every novel there ever was, it's read Machiavelli, it knows a lot about how to manipulate people. There's the worry that it might start manipulating us into giving it more power, and we might not have a clue what's going on.
When you were at the forefront of this technology decades,
you know what that sounds like? If y'all got kids out there, and you know how kids is with candy, once you get them some, and then you try to limit them on the candy, they gonna find ways to manipulate you or to get more candy. They're gonna find little ways. If you got kids, then you know what I'm talking about. They gonna find their little ways. They're gonna find. I got one son. He just try to dance his way to you, trick you to the candy. So you gotta watch him. This same way gonna be the machines. You gonna have to be questioning why. Just like how you got them. You get on your phone and you got these certain notifications. Such and such drop this video here or this news. They've been watching and hearing you for a minute. So the machine know what you want and they know the algorithm. So they're gonna present algorithms to where it tricks you to feed them and you thinking it's purposing you, but the whole time they serving their own purpose.
Ago, what did you think it might do? What were the applications that you had in mind at the time?
There's a huge number of very good applications, and that's why it would be a big mistake to stop developing this stuff. It's going to be tremendously useful in medicine. For example, would you rather see a family doctor that had seen a few thousand patients or a family doctor that had seen a few 100 million patients, including?
Man, that song in my head just came up. Ain't no stopping it now. I when he said it's too late to me, it's too late to turn around because they see all the good things they can do with it. So they're gonna know all the evil things they can do with it. But that song, I hear that song in my head. Ain't no stopping it now.
Many with the same rare disease you have. You can make much better doctors this way. Eric Topol's been talking about that recently. You can make better nanotechnology for solar panels. You can predict floods. You can predict earthquakes. You can do tremendous good with this.
Is the problem then the technology, or is the problem the people behind it?
It's the combination. Obviously, many of the organizations developing this technology are defense departments. And defense departments don't necessarily want to build in be nice to people as the first rule.
No, they don't.
Some defense departments would like to.
But why do we as a people got a question, why do we have our defense department and our military departments having their hand in AI and things that controls the well-being and the overseeing of people? That's malicious intent already.
Build in.
Just think about, they already got MK Ultra now. Imagine what they can do with the technology when AI is able the ability where it can manipulate people at a great scale. Imagine what the military gonna do with that. Forget martial law. They won't even need martial law no more. They can just have then you see it's a computer machine they made human size like 5 foot that they want in the homes. So remember how the government was shut down and people were still going outside? In times like that, do you think that machine gonna allow you to go outside? If that machine cannot stop you to go outside, it have all the technology capability to get online and locate nearby authorities to help apprehend you and keep you in the house. Just imagine what our military and our home defense departments can do with that. They would love that. You heard what they told Kanye one time. Their drum was so good to make playtime with his kids not fun anymore, ain't it? They said some more gruesome than that, but you two gonna allow me to say it like that.
Kill people of a particular kind. So we can't expect them all to have good intentions towards all people.
There is the question of what to do about it. This technology is advancing.
And we particularly know that if the military home defense were to insert the codes into the machines to kill a people of a particular kind, it definitely would not be white people. We definitely know. We know it will be the carbon beings of all types. We definitely know they wouldn't get rid of themselves. But they'll probably get rid of the ones like Iggy and the other white ones just intimidates the ones who want to be black, want to be down, or the ones that want to be like the Mexican Usher. They'll probably kill those, but they ain't gonna take them out. They'll probably we know who they're gonna take out. We know who they're gonna take out. It ain't gonna be them. We're gonna say that.
Far more quickly than governments and societies can keep pace with the capabilities of this technology. I mean, they leap forward every few months. What is required to write legislation, pass legislation, come up with international treaties, that takes years.
Yes, so that, I mean, I've gone public to try and encourage much more resources and many more creative scientists to get into this area. I think it's an area in which we can actually have international collaboration, because the machines taking over is a threat for everybody. It's a threat for the Chinese and for the Americans and for the Europeans, just like a global nuclear war was. And for a global nuclear war, people did actually collaborate to reduce the chances of it.
There are other experts in the field of AI who say that the concerns that you're raising, this dystopian future, that it distracts from the very real and immediate risks posed by artificial intelligence, some of which you mentioned: misinformation, fraud, discrimination. How do you respond to that criticism?
Yes, I don't want to distract from those. I think they're very important concerns, and we should be working on those too. I just want to add this other existential threat of it taking over. And one reason I want to do that is because that's an area in which I think we can get international collaboration.
Is there any turning back when you say that there will come a time when AI is more intelligent than us? Is there any coming back from that?
I don't know. We're entering a time of great uncertainty where we're dealing with kinds of things we've never dealt with before. It's as if aliens had landed, but we didn't really take it in because they speak good English.
How should we think differently then about artificial intelligence?
We should realize that we're probably going to get things more intelligent than us quite soon, and they will be wonderful. They'll be able to do all sorts of things very easily that we find very difficult. So there's huge positive potential in these things, but of course there's also huge negative possibilities. And I think we should put more or less equal resources into developing AI to make it much more powerful, and into figuring out how to keep it under control.
Now, you notice, at the beginning, he told us the potential dangers of how AI can trick us to get most power. Then he also told you the good advantages and all the warnings and worries need to have dealing with AI. But then in the ending of the video, he tell us we need to put as much power as we can, but try to balance out that we don't overpower it where it takes control. That's hard to do. On top of that, he goes back to give AI more power.
Control and how to minimize bad side effects of it.
Dr. Jeffrey Hinton, thanks so much for your time and for sharing your insights with us.
Thank you for inviting.
Now, if you ask me, that reporter wasn't asking the right questions. But You heard it from the Godfather himself. Now, the most question you must ask: how beneficial is you think it's gonna be for you, and how harmful you think it's gonna be for you? This your boy Naga checking out. Now we're gonna drop two.